But obviously, at the end of the day, I'm not naive enough to think that we're not powerless, because we are powerless, most of us. And that does scare the crap out of me. It really does.
In June, for example, during the 12-day war, such as it was with Iran, IDF officers in the Pentagon enraged American Pentagon staff by just barging into meetings, giving orders, making demands, and nobody did anything about it. The people whose job it is, whose sacred duty it is to defend and represent us, are leaders, both at the Pentagon and all throughout the U.S. government, that they do that they stand up and defend us against all potential threats, against all foreign countries to the extent they need to, and that they do not prostrate themselves before a foreign nation.
And then an hour after Charlie Kirk dies, Josh Hammer tweets, "Public execution." I don't know about you, but it feels like hatred? Like gloat? No? Is it just me? Welcome back to another episode of Political Newbie. I am Noah Clark, and this is a space for newbies to politics like me, an average citizen waking up from the matrix and trying to make sense of the chaos that I find myself in. And I thank you so much for joining me. Can we all agree that whether you're seasoned at politics or a newbie, the chaos is unmanageable? In order to barely keep up, I don't do anything anymore. I've completely boycotted Hollywood. So I don't watch movies, I don't watch TV shows, I don't dine out, I don't dine in. I simply no longer engage in traditional consumerism. I just don't. I don't want anything new, I don't want to replace anything. That's just where I'm at right now. All I have any interest in doing right now is making sense of the mess. Like, there is so many truth floating around out there that if you don't have a solid and extremely intimate connection with your instincts while you're wading through the dense fog of information out there, you'll likely forever be in a perpetual state of self-doubt. Because at the end of the day, we all have to make a decision as we're sorting through all this mess, all this chaos, right? We either have to do nothing, escape, ignore, or choose what you want to believe. And I think it's safe to say that none of us can consume every piece of data before deciding what's true or false, so we really do have to rely heavily on our instincts. And I point that out because I've met so many people who do not trust their instincts. I'm looking out into the crowd of leaders and I'm wondering, why are we surrounded by so many cowards? Like, why? Why are people not getting their affairs in order, get your dead man switches, etc., like Candace said, and then speak up? Why? I mean, this is not even something that Candace had to talk about. I just assumed everybody would do that. I mean, if I was in a position of power, I would definitely be doing that all the time, just by default, if I'm controversial. And it doesn't take much for us to see, like, the demons that we're up against. I'm not in those circles and I can see it. So if you're in those circles, if you're feeling it every day, the energy, the tension, you know. So we have multiple independent journalists, James Lee, Harrison Smith, Candace Owens, saying that several people in government, even close to Trump, people at TPUSA, including TPUSA's donors, that are saying one of a few things. Charlie told them directly that he thought he'd be killed for some of the positions that he was taking. Charlie told them directly that he thought Israel would kill him. And other people who were just saying that they think Israel did it. And I'm talking about government officials who don't want to be known. That's what independent journalists are reporting right now. But no one wants to come forward, wants to go on record. Why? The political leaders, thought leaders, power brokers, whoever you are whispering in the shadows behind closed doors that they believe Charlie Kirk was betrayed by people close to him. Guys, reach out to Candace, give your receipts or your testimony, and then let her know you're willing to connect with anyone else whistleblowing so that so that she can put you in touch with each other and you can all come out publicly. Or she can do it for you and then you can come out publicly so that you're not alone. But you have to realize that it is imperative that you take the risk. If you're even willing to say that, to utter that to Candace or anyone, you understand the danger our country is in. You understand the danger our soldiers are in, the wars that they may be forced to fight and die for. You understand that. Collectively, we all have a unique chance to break the status quo together. Genocide cannot be the new normal. Digital prisons cannot be the new normal. I actually just saw a reporting of what's going on in China where people have to go through facial scans to exit their building where they live. This is a possibility for our lifestyles? The answer is no. And you, people in positions of power, you think you're not going to be affected because of your position in power? Well, think Charlie Kirk. Think JFK. Think all of them, actually. all the people in positions of power who are being taken out. If you stay isolated, you don't have support. If you come out together, you have support. The world is watching. We are all gang right now, okay? You will have the right backing you up. You will have the left backing you up. You will have the independents backing you up. Everybody will be supportive. Of course, you're gonna have the crazy ones on the end who are just like hateful and angry, and there's nothing you could do to assuage their anger. But most of us aren't that way. So Charlie Kirk really didn't have the entire country rallying around him, but you will. So come together, organize, and let's do this. Because while you're sitting safe watching Candace single-handedly go up against the transnational cabal, literally, to challenge the narrative, you're allowing our Zionist-occupied government to fabricate a China narrative. And I just have to say right out the gate that I have zero tolerance for the China narrative. Maybe this is out of ignorance, but I'm just not tolerating it. I'm not giving it any real attention whatsoever. And here's why, okay? The FBI does not look at footage, write a statement, and have Governor Cox humiliatingly read this statement.
Something else that has surprised me, well, not really, but still, is the incompetence of the FBI. We were told this by the FBI.
When he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UB.
Here's some elementary level deductive reasoning, okay? The FBI started lying from the jump. The FBI works for Israel, not China. But if they want to make this retarded pivot stick, they can sell TikTok back to China, transfer their media rights to China, start pushing the narrative that 98% of our Congress and almost all of our institutions and industries are owned by China. And they may have a chance to convince us that the FBI lied and is continuing to lie to protect China. Because the FBI is lying to protect somebody, and it ain't the radical left. But until then, the FBI, the state of Utah, and the government are not going to convince me that they are making a complete jack of themselves to protect China and its affiliates. And it just so happens that every single thing that we discover unjustly points to Zionist influence every single time. Here's another little piece that not enough people are talking about.
Do you guys remember back when Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, the Heritage Foundation's Oversight Project had done mobile data analysis and found that someone had visited Thomas Matthew Crook's house in Pennsylvania and had also visited DC near an FBI office. And that raised a lot of suspicion. Well, I was kind of surprised that they didn't do the same thing in this instance, and I've been waiting for them to do it, but as far as I know, they haven't done it, which may or may not be of interest, especially considering that one of their former employees was implicated in this investigation the day of the shooting. Do you remember how initially the police kept arresting people, then turning around and saying that they had the wrong guy? One of those individuals was Zachariah Qureshi, and he used to work for the Heritage Foundation. Coincidentally, it was when I was looking into Zachariah Qureshi that I accidentally stumbled upon a lead pertaining to Hunter Kozak. There's always been something that has seemed off, in my opinion, about Hunter Kozak. Whenever he talks about what happened, he very much gives...
My dog stepped on a bee.
In the words of a behavior analyst, his facial expressions and his words seem incongruent. Here's an example.
Yours was the last question that Charlie Kirk ever heard.
Yeah, there's a strange amount of weight to that. I don't really know how to grapple with that. I mean, he's answered tens of thousands of questions, and that was the first question I've ever asked him. We never talked before that.
There's video of you in that moment. What was that moment like?
I thought I heard a firecracker, and I see his, I see the bullet hit his neck, and I fall to the ground. I think I recognized immediately what this was. This wasn't necessarily like a mass shooting. This was like an assassination.
How does one know? What makes Hunter Kozak an expert in deciding when a shooting that's happening when someone gets killed right in front of him, it's more likely an assassination and not a mass shooting? considering that we were in a climate where like a mass shooting just happened. There was like mass shootings all over the place.
So the gentleman sitting next to Hunter is fighting back tears the whole time. Meanwhile, Hunter seems to be attempting to portray false emotions, and it just doesn't sit right with me.
Do you recognize the guy sitting right next to him? This is the kid who got shut down by the TPUSA people when he was answering this question about the shooting. Okay, I'm gonna refresh your memory.
Okay. I was standing from probably the third row in the bottom. I saw I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I looked over, and he was carried off. Get off me! Get off me!
So you remember that, right? Is it odd to you that 60 Minutes is doing an interview with a TPUSA guy and another guy who is part of the radical left who seems to hate Charlie Kirk? Hunter Kozak? I don't know what this guy's name is, but we should find out. We should find out why he was silenced. I'm pretty sure he doesn't know. I don't think he seems to be in on it at all. But it's just weird that they're both together. But let me refresh your memory again, because I included this in an episode prior, who Hunter Kozak is.
Do you hate Charlie Kirk? I know I do. Charlie Kirk is currently poisoning the mind of every young American who can stand to look at his stupid face. And we're trying to do something about that.
And we're trying to do something about that. Okay. Let me just remind you where this guy comes from. And it has to do with the streamer, the leftist streamer, Destiny, who I really know nothing about except for the fact that he was in Israel one time telling the IDF soldiers that if they want to commit war crimes, they need to not film it and show the world. No, sorry, I'm sorry. He was telling the IDF soldiers that they need to film it if they want to film it, just don't show anybody. So commit war crimes in private.
I think Israel has unique issues. Here's the one piece of advice I'll give you, okay? If you're joining the IDF, okay? Leave your fucking cell phone at home and stop taking stupid fucking videos, okay? Because everybody's fucking you with them, okay? And if you see a soldier, okay, going through a fucking drawer, and listen, if you want to fucking wear a dress and you think it's funny, just don't fucking take a fucking video picture of it, okay? Jesus.
And he's part of the radical left. This is just another example of you knowing that there's really no distinction when it comes to like the higher ups who are influencing us down here into the left-right camps. They're all on the same fucking team. But anyway, so Hunter Kozak is somehow connected to Destiny, and listen to the connection.
Now, Destiny often streams for hours at a time, often streaming for upwards of 12 hours, and it just so happened that he was live streaming when the clip of Charlie Kirk getting shot started circulating online. Shortly after this, he starts talking about it to his audience, and someone called in to his live stream. Here's the clip.
Well, what's up? I'm streaming, by the way.
This is, did you see what happened?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like, dude, Charlie's gonna be fucking dead.
I'm pretty sure he's already dead. Yeah.
Dude, we're fucked. We are so fucked.
By we, you mean we as a country right now, the United States and the current.
Like that, the party, but like mostly
Also,
like.
yes,
like,
wait.
probably
I think that we're super fucked. I agree. Hold on, wait. I'll text you on Discord. I just don't want to say anything crazy that's gonna ruin our shit.
It turns out the person Destiny was talking to is someone named Z. Cohen Sanchez. Now, who is Z? In November of 2024, so just under a year ago, Z founded an organization called National Ground Game, or NGG for short. And this organization has received tons of money from Act Blue. So, Z founded NGG, and she also founded the Unfuck America Tour. And the Unfuck America Tour was being funded by NGG. The Unfuck America Tour was created essentially to harass Charlie Kirk at all of his Turning Point events, and for this reason, they were always banned from his events, but still they would sneak in. And on their website, they have a roster of their creators listed. So Z is there, Destiny is there, and this guy is there, Hunter Kozak. But let's go back to Hunter's mom. I'm scrolling through her social media, and the Jimmy Kimmel Show just keeps popping up. And then I see a photo of her and her husband, Steve Kozak, backstage at the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Now, that name has come up before at the Jimmy Kimmel Show, Steve Kozak.
So anyway, we had one of these. We had a man.
Okay, so what it sounds like to me is the right-wing people know something and the left-wing people know something, and nobody's interviewing them about it. No one's being investigated. I find that so suspicious. And then it gets even creepier. Hunter Kozak is connected to Jimmy Kimmel somehow. Yeah, the one who they canceled off the air for rightly pointing out that Donald Trump got over Charlie Kirk in a snap.
But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House.
Yes. He's at the 4th stage of grief, construction.
Take a listen to how this is connected, because this podcaster looked into Hunter Kozak's family and found this.
Tory regularly scheduled all-staff HR meeting on Zoom. They did it on Zoom. And this is the Zoom. And if you look closely, you can see Guillermo. Zoom in on that on the Zoom if you could. Fast asleep. Does sound asleep.
So, Steve Kozak works for Jimmy Kimmel. Steve Kozak, the father of Hunter Kozak, has been working for Jimmy Kimmel for years. What are the chances that Hunter Kozak asks Charlie Kirk a very ironic question right before Charlie Kirk's life is taken in front of a live audience full of thousands of people? Jimmy Kimmel then gets brought into this by the media, simultaneously dogpiling on him and making him the scapegoat because of his monologue. And then it turns out that one of the higher-ups at Jimmy Kimmel's show is the father of the last person to speak to Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's weird.
You can't make this shit up.
Can't make this shit up. And I don't know if Hunter Kozak is a Zionist. I don't know that. But Z. Cohen Sanchez, and just the fact that the TPUSA guy and this radical leftist guy who hates Charlie are going to be sitting together in a 60 Minutes interview. Nobody's questioning that whatsoever. Weird. It's just weird. By the way, she's really good at hunting information. I like her a lot. She did some researching on Macron, actually. Some really interesting tidbits that Candace didn't look into, which was like so deep. I think her and Candace should definitely work together, or at least people within Candace's team should check out her episodes for tips, because she's really good. I think so. The more and more you pull this apart, it's just leading further and further away. One, from a radical leftist shooter, and two, from China. I'm just not going there with the China thing. Just not going there. But the coincidences get darker and darker. Like, why did Andrew Colvett, in his response to Candace's text message drop on Monday, not only admit that the message was authentic, which we already knew, but then state that he wanted to keep it private because he had given it to the feds immediately after learning that Kirk was shot? Take a listen.
Namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to go into it because I actually am really excited that the truth is out there. I first want to say the reason I didn't share that screen grab publicly is because it was a private exchange, and I felt like it didn't necessarily comport with things that were already public. I wanted to not betray my friend's trust in that way. But I did share it with some people in government because it happened really quick. It was, it took 33 hours for authorities to get their suspect. And in those first moments, we wanted no stone unturned. We wanted to leave nothing unturned. So I shared it with a few people. Don't know where it went from there, apparently, but here we are. So,
is there any particular reason why that was your instinct, Andrew, to send a screenshot of Charlie Kirk saying that he was leaving the pro-Israel cause to the feds after he got shot? Any reason? Maybe you're the leaker? Maybe they all need to start suspecting each other? So Ian Carroll's friend, also named Ian, has a source on the inside who has been sending him text updates, which, by the way, that inside source claims that Bibi's letter is highly likely doctored, and that letter has not been authenticated yet, by the way. But anyway, Ian Carroll's friend tweeted this. Hear me out. Is it possible Erica Kirk is actually Candace Owens' source? That would be the greatest twist of all time. To that, I say, let's put it out there. Erica Kirk is sus AF, but it would be very useful for all of them to be very suspicious of each other, don't you think? Like, they should all be of the mind that they should all be preparing dead man switches. Because Zionists will switch things up on you no matter how loyal you are. Ask Megyn Kelly. She's still groveling to them, and they will not relent, no matter what she does. Now, let's take our inquiry a step further. Did lie about where he was on September 10th? Because here he is shooting down someone's tweet on October 3rd, telling him that literally none of what you are saying is true. And you know how I know? Because I was there when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Oh, okay. And then 2 days later, he tweets, I was scheduled to go on the show the day Charlie was assassinated, but I never made it as I flew up to be at the hospital. Okay, maybe the hyper paranoia that Charlie Kirk was talking about is definitely affecting their story. But can we go a little bit further with this? Just a little. Why? After Charlie told Josh Hammer and others in a group text that he had no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause, did Josh Hammer retweet a 12-year-old post from Donald Trump? And Donald Trump's tweet goes, should be public execution for all to see. You will end this bullshit fast. I don't know. What bullshit? Inviting Tucker Carlson against your donor's advice? Not responding to financial and emotional blackmail? Turning your base against going to war with Iran? What bullshit are we talking about? I want to know. But anyway, Josh Hammer responds, based. And this was the night before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. The night after Charlie Kirk said that he was abandoning the pro-Israel cause. And then an hour after Charlie Kirk dies, Josh Hammer tweets, public execution. Just for funsies, just that by itself. I'm sorry, but that's a very strange message for a friend to drop after a close friend was just publicly executed. I don't know about you, but it feels like hatred, like gloat. No? Is it just me? The level of sketch going on at TP Israel, TP USA, is cosmic. Absolutely cosmic. And while they are scrambling to latch onto a believable narrative, they are also constantly flexing their tech and surveillance superiority to communicate what exactly? Don't pressure them? Should we be afraid to challenge their narratives so that they don't have to feel pressured to make their narrative make sense? We all by now already know that you control everything, that you control the media. People have been saying this and warning us about this for a very long time. So what's the flex? As the Zionist empire continues to fortify the infrastructure of the digital prison they've built over us. But you know what? Here is an interesting statistic. 26 out of the 27 EU countries are either already in digital ID lockdown mode or close. Most of those countries are homogenous. I believe that America has the strongest chance at putting up a valiant resistance because of our diversity. We have a variety of strengths to pull from. Strengths from people who are passionate about their home and country. We don't all have the same cultural norms and programming that can be manipulated, and that's a strength that we the people have. For example, many Christians have been co-opted by Zionism. In fact, the Jewish Zionist cause is only as strong as it is because it's been shielded and protected by Christian Zionists who outnumber Jewish Zionists by about 30 million people. So right now, Israel is expanding and strengthening its indoctrination campaign by targeting Christians because they understand their collective vulnerabilities, which they have exploited for over a century. But not all of us have those vulnerabilities. Not all of us can be exploited in the same way. In fact, some of us are immune. That is our strength as a country, our diversity. And we have to tap into it and continue to pill people. We have to work double time to rescue vulnerable Christians who are being ensnared in the geofencing traps set out by Zionist predators. So I'm going to leave a link on my X account with a copy of the legal documents that Israel filed to target your church and your pastor. If you're a Christian, you may want to check it out and see if your church has been infiltrated. And there will be instructions on my X page to access the document and which page to go to so that you can go straight to the church bit. And if you did go to a TPUSA event and downloaded any of these apps, you might want to uninstall them. And I will have a copy of this image on my X account with a link explaining why you might want to uninstall these apps, and it will be under episode 28. So yeah, they are obviously confirming what we already know. They own and control pretty much everything. I don't know about you, but every day I feel this existential dread now that we're all already toast because we're essentially powerless. And since it's already over, why not spend the rest of our remaining freedoms in ignorant bliss rather than hunting truth? But you know what I think is going on? I think that there are several factions within the elites, many of them boomers, and they're all vying for their genius and their strategies to dominate. That's what I think is going on. I don't know. I sincerely don't think they trust each other. And so the sloppiness and the disjointed censorship where some things are getting through and other things aren't, I believe is a result of disunity. And certainly they want to project unity, and they do in the way that they respond in hive-like fashion on social media where they all have their coordinated text messages and whatnot. Because obviously unity is the strongest weapon. Right? Some might even say that unity is godly. Like, it is the most potent weapon. So naturally, that's what they want to project. But I don't think they're that solid. And I think some of them see the moves that their satanic elitist peers are making as sowing the seeds of their collective demise, and probably want to impose different strategies to enslave us, and are probably going to sleep at night and thinking, fuck, we have to do something different. We can't keep going this way. I don't like that one's suggestion. I think it was dumb. We should have tried this one. That's why we're in this mess right now. And that's how I imagine the state of play right now within their ranks. So, I don't know. But obviously, at the end of the day, I'm not naive enough to think that we're not powerless, because we are powerless, most of us. And that does scare the crap out of me. It really does. I keep thinking that one day the feds are going to break down the door and no one's going to know about it because I'm a nobody. And they're going to keep me locked up somewhere where I have no rights, because I think that we don't really have rights anymore. They could just do whatever they want to us, and there's no one to complain to. No one's going to care. They really do seem to be doing whatever they want at this point. Nevertheless, it is simply not in my genetic instructions to be complacent. Not in my character as a woman. So let's go there for a second. America failed JFK in 1963. America failed us on 9/11. America failed us during COVID. America failed us after 10/7. And here we are. So question. Who are the spineless people in positions of power who leave Candace, a woman, a mother of 4, to carry the burden of our country on her shoulders right now? Who are they? Are they governed by the fear that America failed the brave men and women who died trying to get the truth out in the past? Because unfortunately for those brave, heroic people, they didn't have the world on their side. Right now, the world is awake in an unprecedented way. The world is watching and supporting in real time. People are discovering new ways to break through the censorship. No one is alone right now. So what is holding the spineless people back? What? Our soldiers. There are enemies in our midst, setting our constitution on fire. Our country needs your protection. Where are you? Our government is covering up a brutal public political assassination of a prominent American citizen and attacking our constitutional rights in the process. That means that our government has declared war against every American citizen. Our own government allowed a crime scene to be completely destroyed within days, similar to the crime scenes of JFK, MLK, RFK. The signature is near exact, and pushed out fraudulent text messages that are still unverified, and the window of verification, by the way, is over. Anything they say about those text messages now is null and void. You don't give yourself a month to fabricate better text messages and then say, oh, by the way, here's what we got. No. So this alone amounts to an act of treason. So where are our soldiers? Isn't jail preferable to taking orders from an enemy? Or shall we wait for digital IDs and digital monies to shackle us always and forever? Censor us permanently? Something akin to a bullet in the neck? Where is the spine? Where are our men? Are they waiting for their woman to step forward? Should we? We will. We have Candace on the front lines. Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing her part. Anna Kasparian is pulling no punches. And I'm specifically talking about people who have the power and influence and connections network to actually influence a movement. That's who I'm talking about right here. Our thought leaders, our political leaders, our law enforcement, our soldiers, our politicians, our journalists. And I mean specifically calling it out by name. Israel, Zionists. I'm still waiting for Thomas Massie to say it. Ro Khanna is barely touching it. Tucker Carlson is, he's doing a decent job. Here's a woman I'd never heard of until a couple of days ago. Cori Bush.
Courage.
AIPAC, I'm coming to tear your kingdom down.
Sacrifice.
Congresswoman Bush, history will remember that you sacrificed your career for the biggest moral cause of our time.
Patriotism.
Our government sends our tax dollars to the Israeli military. If this body is looking for something productive to do with $3 million instead of funding a military that kills Palestinians, I have some communities in St. Louis City and in St. Louis County where we desperately need investment, where we are hurting, where we need help. Let us prioritize funding there.
But her push to invest American tax dollars at home instead of sending them to Israel crossed the Israeli lobby's red line. So they tried to silence her.
I got a message from someone in the community. AIPAC said to tell you that they know you're not going to change your stance. You're not going to change your position. They got it. They just want you to be silent about it.
When she refused to stay silent about Israel draining America and dragging us from one disastrous war to another.
The first victory in Afghanistan makes the second victory in Iraq that much easier. The second victory in Iraq will make the third victory that much easier too.
We are anti-war, we are anti-occupation, and we are anti-apartheid, period.
AIPAC poured millions to silence her voice.
Pro-Israel groups spent heavily to try and oust Bush.
AIPAC has launched a $7 million ad blitz trying to oust Representative Cori Bush.
Cori Bush be defeated in an $8 million campaign because AIPAC basically bought Wesley Bell, St. Louis County prosecutor, to defeat her.
Replacing her with Wesley Bell, whose only job is to keep funneling American tax dollars to Israel.
Within the past 2 hours, a contentious town hall debate wrapped up with Congressman Wesley Bell in downtown St. Louis. A group of demonstrators showing up,
questioning his support from pro-Israel interest group AIPAC.
Now, I haven't had time to look into what her politics are, but what strikes me is that we don't have an army of men in Congress bringing that kind of fire. Don't mince words, say it straight. And we do. Thomas Massie is our guy. He's our Captain America, and we absolutely love it. But where are the rest? Where? Like, for example, every one of our leaders are still peddling this nonsense that Hamas killed 1,100 Israelis. That never happened. And in the very least, if you cannot help yourself and you need to peddle that lie, then at least say, and Israel committed the Hannibal Directive and killed hundreds of its own people through airstrikes, shelling, and gunfire. In the very least, say that. It's cowardly to hide. Tell the truth, take the heat, grow a fucking spine. And how about our independent journalists? Max Blumenthal is one of the people who I see really holding it down. Like, if you listen to him explain to people and educate people with what's really going on in the Middle East, it's like, why don't we have 100 of them? 100 of him. Why?
Of course, war is horrible, so why did the Palestinians initiate this war with their vicious attack on Israelis on October 7th?
Well, they didn't. They didn't. This war has been going on for 75 years. Israel initiated it in 1948 by ethnically cleansing 750,000 people. We must expel Arabs. We must expel Arabs and take their places. We must expel Arabs and take their places. And if we have to use force, not to dispossess the Arabs of the Negev and Transjordan, but to guarantee our own right to settle in those places, then we have force at our disposal. David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel, said that in 1937. And that's what they proceeded to do. The people in Gaza, this is what you need to understand. The people in Gaza, over 80% of them are refugees. Many of them are from a place called Majdal Asqalon in what is now southern Israel, in a city called Ashkelon. And they were dragged from their homes and driven from their homes placed in prison camps, barbed wire prison camps, and then dumped in trucks in 1950 into the Gaza Strip where they would be permanently warehoused. And then Israel proceeded to move Arab Jewish refugees and Russians into Ashkelon to prevent them from ever coming back, and pass laws to prevent Arabs, Palestinians from being able to return to their homes. 750,000 were ethnically cleansed. For 18 years, the remaining Palestinians, 100,000, were internally displaced inside Israel. The remaining were put under military rule. They were under military occupation until 1966. Then in 1967, Israel violently, in a war it initiated, occupies Gaza, occupies the West Bank, occupies the Sinai Peninsula, the Golan Heights in East Jerusalem, and then invades Lebanon in 1982, attacking Palestinian refugees there, puts Gaza under siege in 2005. No one can get in or out without Israeli military permission. We must kill and kill all day, every day. That's according to Arnon Sofer, an Israeli government consultant who helped devise the siege of Gaza. For years, Israel would not allow certain chocolates and A2 paper into Gaza. And then they began these brutal military assaults, which they call mowing the lawn. Slaughtering a few people will leave Hamas intact, but teach them a lesson. And I talked to you about those assaults that took place on Gaza. So this didn't come out of a vacuum. You're not going to be able to hold people under siege, to cut them off from the world, and then expect them to just play along. And that doesn't mean that I celebrate what happened on October 7th. It should have never had to happen. The reason it happened is because of the Israel lobby here, the genocide Democrats and the genocide Republicans who deny the Palestinians any right to have rights. And it's the right to have rights that defines you as a citizen. They're citizens of nothing. And now we see what Israel really thinks of them, really thinks of their children. Gaza has become a graveyard for children, according to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. So this didn't start on October 7th, and it's not going to end when there's a ceasefire.
We need to have him on Tucker like yesterday. Why isn't Tucker bringing Max Blumenthal on his show to do it properly? Instead, Tucker, who I'm convinced is trying to atone for his madness and what he helped to facilitate most of his adult life, which is the systematic destabilization of our country. The other day, Tucker platformed a spineless, funded by Israel Zioshel Steve Toth as a replacement for deranged Zioshel Dan Crenshaw. What? You're literally endorsing a Zionist paid by AIPAC Zioshel? Weren't you the one who were just talking about integrity and dignity just the other day? Actually, I'm going to pull that clip.
Why would we ever put up with that? Why would we put up with the attack on the USS Liberty that everyone's so afraid to talk about, clearly targeted on purpose by a country we're supporting, Israel? Why is it shameful to say that? But it shouldn't be. And until we have some self-respect, not anger or hate, but just dignity, it will continue. In June, for example, during the 12-day war, such as it was with Iran, IDF officers in the Pentagon enraged American Pentagon staff by just barging into meetings, giving orders, making demands, and nobody did anything about it. How can a foreign military officer barge into military headquarters, even if invited, but barge into a meeting and start demanding, we want this, we want that, you need to get on this? Huh? The more you allow that kind of deeply unhealthy behavior, the more you're going to get. And that's exactly what has happened. Because of the weakness of our leaders, we have incited predators in a foreign country to take advantage of us. The people whose job it is, whose sacred duty it is to defend and represent us, are leaders, both at the Pentagon and all throughout the U.S. government, that they do that they stand up and defend us against all potential threats, against all foreign countries to the extent they need to, and that they do not prostrate themselves before a foreign nation. That's just basic. Why have a government, especially a strong government, if it's taking orders from another weaker government? And that is the state of play. And it has been for a very long time. And they're not even pretending, to such an extent that the prime minister of Israel goes on television to openly participate and meddle in internal American politics, taking sides, attacking people, Americans. You wouldn't think it would be his business. He's not an American leader. He's not even an American citizen. Going on television to attack Americans.
Like, it's the combination of intellect and spinelessness that I can't seem to get my head around. I don't know. Maybe until I've read all the books, know all the names, been to all the places, I will remain an average, naive citizen with female instincts, unequipped to understand the tail-chasing choices our thought leaders continue to make. So what can I say? I am desperately trying to make sense of the mess with the deficits that I have and your comments to help me sort it out. So I will continue trying to make sense of it. So yeah, I got a little carried away there with spinelessness, but backtracking to anti-Israel candidates, we have to encourage more of them to step up. We have a few who are making themselves known, or at least a few that I know, and I may not agree with all of their politics for sure, but they are what we've got right now so far. And I do have some hope that if they are truly America first and they have political positions that their constituents disagree with, they are more likely to change their positions than a Zionist is in order to represent their constituents. Operative word being more likely, because we know for certain Zionist candidates do not serve us at all. And we may never have perfect political representation that addresses the diverse needs of our country, but in the very least, they should never, and I mean never, utter the needs of another country or a state in conjunction with our own. We have put Israel's needs first for 80 years, and we've been in a systematic decline since, with a brief period of respite. So no, we're done with that. Israel was a bad bet for us. And as you know, we're the ones subsidizing it. Anyway, I also want to add that I really and truly think that it is too late for us to strategize and move to sit this one out and not play their game. If not voting or not playing their game was a well-established movement by now, I'd say, okay, brilliant. But it's not. I don't know. Well, I guess it's all going to depend on what percentage of us think that there's still hope. That's what it's going to depend on. So for the people who still think that there is hope, I believe that there are times when we have to use the tools in front of us and outsmart the enemy. And I really do think that we're fully capable of that, even though we're at a disadvantage. So please, if you know of any anti-Israel candidates in your state, leave them in the comments. Let us know. We need to boost them. We need to help them beat the algorithm so they can be seen and known, and their positions can be challenged if necessary, so that we can build a political class of warriors. And while that's happening, we have millennials and Gen Zers battling the Ellison Empire with creative ways to continue pilling the youth, because pilling the youth is crucial. I think you're gonna like this.
So anyways, it's a really good, simple hack. I'm gonna show you how to do it real quick. So what you wanna do is you wanna get yourself some organic milk, okay? Organic milk is probably the best. I mean, what we really want is raw, but raw is like super expensive and hard to come by and hard to get. And but organic works really well. So you want to get organic, and then you can get some organic half and half, or you can get.
Tell me that's not funny. Tell me that's not incredible. And I really do hope that people take Candace's suggestion seriously to start referring to Israel as TikTok. It's just ridiculous. What are they gonna do? So it's legit. We have social media warriors constantly inventing new and creative ways to use their weapons against them. Our independent journalists are fired up more than ever with our help and with our support. Even people in countries that no longer have free speech are breaking through to join the fight. We have civilian and veteran warriors on the flotillas. We have people striking and boycotting. We have people protesting in the street. Right here is 250,000 strong, they say. So we have to keep signaling our soldiers that our constitution is under attack. We need to discover more strong, brave political warriors to represent us. So we are also waging a multiple front war, and it's fierce. And we're not gonna slow down because they threaten us with false flags and Samson options. We're not. So here's some free advice, Zionists. Just tell the truth.
It goes back to COVID, Ukraine, Trump even, which is that, we're led to believe that these institutions they have the authority to tell us what's going on and what to think and what's acceptable. And we know that they lied about all that, lied about the facts, the opinions. They were probably not even in good faith. And now they want to come out and tell us, well, but we can't have that conversation.
We've pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, so maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says.
Our generation was also lied to by the governments of Israel and the US that COVID vaccines were safe and effective. Whoa, are you accusing the Israeli government of lying to the American public? How dare you? Israel intelligence missed the boat on October 7th, but we're asked to trust Israeli intelligence 100%? Try truth. Your tongues and brains might burn, but there is a strong chance you'll survive it. Try it. Anyway, I will post the few anti-Israel candidates that I found so far on my X account. It'll be attached in the comment section of this episode, episode 28, which will be pinned to the top until my next episode drops. So check them out. Let me know your likes and dislikes. And if you have better options, please share. If we're all working together, we can identify the best political representatives and push forward from there. So yeah, if you know any candidates in your area that are viable, let's start sharing those with each other, and let's also intentionally foster an environment where anti-Zionists and anti-Israel candidates feel inspired to run for office, because we need warriors coming in from every angle. Anyway, let me know what you think, and if I don't see you in the comments, leave me a thumbs up to let me know that you're here, and I cannot wait to see you in my next episode.